अपना Please start.
Yes, I'm start. A very warm welcome to one and all present here. On this pleasant evening, I am Sakshi Srivastava on the behalf of the team of LegalStix. Pleased to welcome each and every one of you to the wonderful webinar on the animal law. India is the seventh largest country in the world and also one of the most diverse region of the world, containing 4 of the world's 36 biodiversity hotspots. Animal law is the field of law that relates to or has an impact on non-human animals. It covers a variety of issues such as rights, standing, or welfare of animals, and the legal actions that affect them. Animal law can intersect with the many traditional laws like torts, contract law, family law, and more. Animal law can be enacted and enforced at different levels of the government, from federal to the state to local. This is the general overview of the topic. I hope this webinar will help you to learn a lot. I would like to request all the participants to kindly grab your pen and paper and make a brief of today's webinar. There will be the question answer round in the end of the session, so the participants can write their questions in the box or can speak also. Now, I feel humbled to introduce you all to our dignitary on this panel today. We are extremely delighted and privileged with the presence of our guest speaker, Professor Partha Partim Mitra sir. He is the professor at the School of Law, UPS, Dehradun. Before joining here, he was engaged as a senior consultant with the Department of Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India. He has published various papers and has authored various books in the field of law. Now, I would like to request Professor Mitra sir to please kindly illuminate us with the apprehension of today's topic. Sir, please.
Okay. Am I visible?
Yes, sir, you are visible.
Okay. Now you see, how many of you are present here? Are you listening to me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. We are
Audible?
listening
No,
to you.
okay, okay.
Yes, yes. Please
Okay.
carry on.
Now you see, first thing we should start the relationship between the human being and the animal. First thing is coming here. If you see, from very beginning, since the civilization, means at the time of the human civilization, at the very beginning, when human being they used to live in the forest, they used to live in a cave. On that time, question was there. There is the very good symbiotic relationship between the animal and the human beings, and man and animal. They all were both correlated to each other every day, day-to-day life. And this relationship is still existing. If you see animal without animal means their usefulness, how they can be used or how they are being used in our life. That everything you can find right now. Even suppose for the agriculture purpose, major issues come here. Our India is one of the agrarian society. So here agriculture is in our constitution. We also see that there is the existence of the animal for the agriculture purpose. The second thing is carriage. If you see right now, so many your motors or the electronic motor, those things have come. In spite of that, for the time immemorial, animals are used for the carriage purpose. They used to carry the horse cart, bullock cart, all of these things. Till today, you can see animals are being used for the carriage purpose. And if you see, apart from that, food, there is huge resources food resources or the source of the food. Animal is one of the important source of the food also. So animal with animals, birds, whatever it may be. So without that animal, you cannot think in our society, their existence, our existence, without their existence, we cannot think our existence. Apart from that, if you see some animals are being used for the companion purpose, they are helpful. You are keeping the pet animals, you are keeping the suppose birds or any kind of your pets, those are your companion. Entertainment purpose also for a long period. Now, this is the questionable, most questionable area we'll discuss later. That if you see recent case law of 2023, this year, the May, your Supreme Court has passed the judgment, which is the first time constitutional board has been constituted, constitutional bench about the existence of the animal right in this ports or such type of bovine animals are being used for the ports purpose, and how much this is helpful for the entertainment. Jallikattu of your actually statutes were made by the several legislations, mainly your Tamil Nadu, then your Maharashtra and your Karnataka. This is the part, another part of entertainment. How much you can use them for the entertainment purpose. But if you can recall that totally in our life, we have seen the animals for the circus. Circus is banned right now, but in spite of that, if you see, these animals used to be as the entertainment elements for a long time, and education purpose also. If you see education purpose, if they have dedicated their life, if you see animals are being used for every purpose, guinea pig, or if you see the toad or the frog, those are used in your laboratory, and the scientific experiment purpose also. First, when in England, when the problem came regarding the protection of animals, the first ethical issues came only on these animals, these vivisections or dissections of the animals, when those are used for the experiment purpose in the laboratory. So that was the first protection came. What I want to tell that animals are very much useful and they are continuously being used in our day-to-day life, from our means agriculture, for the entertainment, for companion purpose, for the education purpose. You know, now your Chandrayaan 3 is going on, all the human trial is going on now, the success of the Chandrayaan. First time when your Sputnik was sent by the Russian, one dog was sent. Can you tell the name of the dog? The dog was a Laika, and there is a statue of the Laika in Russia also. The dog was sent first time in the space. So experiment was, they are helpful for the experiment purpose also. Such type of scientific experiment. So that I want to tell that you cannot avoid the existence of animal in our science and technology also. Now, apart from that, how animals are being in this relationship, if you see that even in our if you see national emblem also, in our national any kind of state crafts also, everywhere there is the existence of the animal. So that's why if you see in our religion, in our sports, in our culture, in our art, even our sign, zodiac sign, symbol, if you see, the animals are there. You know, so many means you can see the lion, all of these, Cancer, Capricorn, all of these signs are there. Those are the animals. And corporate branding also. If you see the corporate brand, so many corporate brands are there. Those are totally based on the animal logo, and animals are being used as the brand of the particular corporation or corporate body. And apart from that, if you see, means every country there is a national bird, there is a national animal, there is national emblem. So everywhere you will see the existence of the animal. Not only that, some writers are telling that every country has one national symbol, every country has one national stock exchange, and every country has a national animal also. So in this way, you will see the animal in our national existence also. Some countries are known for their animals also only. If you see African countries, many African countries, their total economy is based on the wildlife or wild animals. They are visiting of the national park, sanctuaries, all of these things. Now, if you see the Indian context also in our philosophy, in our Hindu philosophy, in our Hindu religion, that is everywhere. Dasavatar we have seen existence. Pasupati we used to tell. Mahadev is known as the Pasupati. He is the means Pati, owner of the all the pasus, means all the animals. If you see the Dasavatar of the Sri Vishnu, they are the existence of the animal. Not only that, that animal means if you see the reincarnation of the Vishnu, every stages, they are our the existence means Matsya, Baraho, whatever it may be, Singha, everywhere. Even if you see the Buddhism, the Jataka stories, you will find the same way, the same philosophy was followed in the I saw fables also. Ancient Greece also, you will find the existence of the animals in their fables, in the folklores, in their religion, everywhere. Romans, they used to means you will find this animal god and goddess, and they used to admire them. They used to worship them. So on the these or those animals, animal as the god or animal god goddess. So those things are there. Roman mythology, Greek mythology, everywhere you will find that existence of animal. So this is the psychological reason we are very much dependent mentally, physically, as well as in our scientific, even after the scientific experiment also, animals are important. So you cannot deny the existence of animal. And you cannot tell that we should not study the animal law, you should not discuss. Now, if nowadays you can find there are several cases are pending before the high courts. Several regarding a several issues, either animal sacrifice, either this animal transportation, or suppose your regarding the animal cruelty. So that's why if you see the series of PILs, means public interest litigations are being filed in the many issues regarding the protection of the animals and their cruelty. So that's why I'm telling that if you see if you go through the existence of the animal, particularly Indian perspective, if you see, you will find there are the three types of animal protection you will find. Any of you can tell that where is the existence of the animal in our constitution? Have you found any of you? If you don't tell something, then program will not be the attractive one. I know very few of you are present here, I can see. But in spite of that, do you have any idea if can you see any of the existence of the animals in our legal system? Have you found any provision, any particular statute or any particular section or any provision which is dealing with the protection of the animals or the preservation, anywhere in our constitution or any legislation? Any of you? Can you find? Nowhere you can find. Okay. Let me tell myself. Actually, if you see, I am telling you, if you see, I have mentioned in my book also. If you go through my book, you will also find here that this is the book published in 2019, where I have discussed this concept has been also adapted. And if you see the IGNU, Indira Gandhi Open University, they have also started the animal protection law on a subject. Not only that, if you see right now, maximum law school, they have introduced the animal law as a subject. If you see the NALSA, they have introduced the animal law as a subject. You can also find your Bangalore, MLU Bangalore, they have also started animal law on the subject. Means they providing the PG diploma course. And apart from that, if you see that your latest, you can see that Indira Gandhi Open University, they have also started one postgraduate diploma on the animal welfare law. So I will come to this. What is the difference between protection and welfare? That is another story. First thing is the protection. They must be given a protection. Then you will think about their betterment or their welfare. Now come to my last question. What I asked to you, that can you find out any existence of the or any kind of reference of the animal in our laws, in your legislative structure, or the if you see our legal landscape of the India, can you find any kind of existence of the animal? First start with the constitution. If you see If you see all the legislative, means all the legislations and all the legal setup of the country, you would find that three setups are there. If you see the whole matrix of the animal law, you will find the three types are there. First thing you will find in your constitution, that is also you will find in the constitution, that is the Article 48. Article 48 is the relation with the entry 15 of the state list. You know, your constitution has one list also. There are so many schedules, 12 schedules are there, and schedule 7 has told about mentioning of the three lists. So one list is first list, a union list, where state union can make the law. Second is a state list, where state government can make the law, and third is a concurrent list. Both can make the law. Here in the state list also, you will find the entry 15 and Article 48 of the Indian Constitution. They are telling about the preservation of cattle and livestock improvement. Two things are coming here. Try to understand. So they are telling about the preservation of the cattle. Preservation of the cattle is important. Cattle are very much useful for the agricultural purpose. Our society is an agrarian society. So that's why, and that's why you will find that that's why your cow slaughter is prohibited according to this provision. So this Article 48 is the first provision in our Indian Constitution, which is telling about the, which is recognizing the existence of the animal in our human society, as well as their importance for the nation development also. Because if agriculturally you are strong, you are an agrarian society, then you can become the prosperous, your country get the success. So that's why preservation of cattle, and at the same time, the livestock improvement. Two words are there, means two phrases are there that you must remember. Preservation of cattle, cattle must be preserved, and livestock must be improved. Livestock means those stock, living stocks, which are being used for the food purpose, poultry, boiler, or suppose if you are doing any kind of goatary, any kind of piggery, all of these things, if you see, those are livestock, stocks, such a stock which are live, living. So that's why those should be improvement. They are improvement. This is the duty of the state also, and state can make the law. So this is the first point you will find in our Article 48. This is a one set of law, and there are a series of laws have been made. Several states have made the law for the preservation of cattle and livestock improvement. You will find that so many laws are there. Cattle, even their disease, even their diseases should be also, so that's why cattle disease prevention laws are also there. I can tell you the list of the legislation also where such type of laws are being framed. But if you see, those are coming in the first head, that is the preservation of cattle and improvement of the livestock. Second set of law for the protection of the animals, that is the mainly for the environmental purpose, ecological purpose, ecological environmental development or ecological protection. That you will find. Any of you, please tell something, otherwise I will not get interest. You may not, your interest I first should be considered, but you must think about the speaker's interest also. If you are not interacting, that it will become very boring monologues, isn't it? Do you have any idea? Is any provisions in there in Constitution which is telling about the protection of the wild animal? That is very famous. Whoever you study the constitutional law, you may very much aware. In your environmental law also, major provision is the 48A. Just next to the 48. 48 was the inserted provision. Previously, it was not there. After the 1976 to the 42nd Amendment, mini constitution, this provision was inserted. And that provision is telling that the states should care for the protection of the wild animals and the forest, and their care should be taken. And that is the duty of the state. DPSP, that this was state policy. That is the part 4 of the Indian Constitution, where the Constitution is giving the guidelines. Constitution is giving the direction to the state to follow these principles. The directive principle of the state policy. Your state policy should adopt these principles. So that's why it is known as the directive principle of state policy. So one of the policies that state must make the law for the protection of the wildlife, forest, and all these natural resources, because those are the part and parcel of the economy. And at the same time, if we find that 851AG, means 51A, capital A is the subject which was inserted again through this 42nd Amendment. It was originally not there. This is a duty. You know, fundamental duties were originally not in Indian Constitution. It was inserted through the 42nd Amendment in 1976, where another provision was inserted. This is a duty of the individual. This is the duty of the citizen towards the state. Directive principle of the state policy is the duty of the state. State has some duty. At the same time, citizens, they have the also duty for the protection of the your wild animals, forest. And another important term is there. That is the whole gamut of the story lies here. That is and they must be compassionate with all the living creatures. This compassion word is very important. Latter Supreme Court has used this term several times. This compassion. Recently, you know, your Delhi High Court, Justice Mida was there, J.R. Mida. I have worked with him at the Calcutta University. So he used the compassion word is so minutely and so meticulously that if you see the compassion, feeding of the street dog or the stray dog was the part and parcel of the compassion. And there is lots of confusion, lots of conflict, lots of tussle between the residents and these dog lovers who used to feed the animals in the road or roadside or inside the residential units. So they are continuously blaming that other people are disturbing them. But court said no. This is a right to feeding is also fundamental right, because it is coming under the purview of it is the 48A as well as originally it is a 51AG, this is duty. And if anyone is prevented from this duty, this is a violation of his fundamental right. Again, Article 21. So in this way, the court has related 51AG and 48A in the line of the fundamental rights also in Article 21. So these are the relationship. And another important thing you will find in environmental law, you have studied this part very much frequently. You all have studied it. That is in the schedule also. 7th schedule you have already seen. The 7th schedule is dealing with the distribution of the legislative power, and where 17A and 17B were inserted in the concurrent list. That is this is the forest and wild animal and birds. Before that, wild animal and birds were within the list of the state list. When India Constitution was framing on that time, 47, 48, 49, if you see, the maximum member of the Constituent Debate Assembly and maximum member of the Constituent Assembly, they were from the princely state. So there is a continuous demand from the princely states that animals, forest, water, land, those resources should be in the state list. So animals were treated as wild animals were treated as resource. So that should be in the state list. But after the 42nd Amendment, 1976, Indira Gandhi, after if you see maximum international conventions, those took place during the 70s. And on that time, so many conventions were there, sites in Washington, or some IUC development of the IUCN. So many, if you see, I have also discussed in my book. If you go to my another book, is there Wildlife Protection Act, that this is the 2016 book, where I have discussed that how 1970s is important for an international point of view. If you see the international point of view, this is very much helpful, and so many international conventions took place, and India becomes so much. If you see, Mrs. Gandhi took a very good initiative Particularly, she wrote all the state government to be to put this demand, and ultimately your forest and wild animals, those went from the state list to mainly in your concurrent list. Either state will make law or the center will make law. None of making the law. The state is not making, the center may make the law. And that's why, immediately before that, already 72, the Wildlife Protection Act was made. What are the demand on the you have seen in your constitution, there is also state can make the demand for the making of the law, and on the demand of the state, that this 252, 253, 254, all of these are the federal structure where you will find that how the states can make the laws, when the state can make law, when the center can make law, all of these issues are coming. So anyway, these are the second set of laws you will find, and maximum your whole environmental law is based on this area. So this is a second set of law. And third set of, if you see the animal law, this is a in pure sense animal law. If you see the second set of laws, which we have just discussed, that Article 48A, 51AG, or your schedule means MG 17A and 17B and the schedule 7, all of these are coming under the purview of the wild animals, or you may say the forest or the wild animals or the birds. But animal includes the wild animal. But apart from the wild animal, there are a large portion of pet animals are there, domesticated animals are there, or such type of animals who are being used for the agriculture purpose, education purpose, scientific experiment purpose, companion purpose, pet purpose, carriage purpose. So how those should be protected. So that's why one of this is based on the ethics and morality. Ethical issue is coming here. So that's why if you see in our country, another law is there on powerful law. This is my subject actually. This is the animal law. That is the Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act. This law is there. 1960 this law came. How this law came? And again you have to know the history a little bit. Because if you see before that, British has already made the law. That was the 1890 law was there regarding the protection of the animals from against the cruelty actually. But that law was not too much powerful. Actually, after the independence, there was a huge demand. And that demand mainly, that Rukmini Devi Orundale, one famous parliamentarian was there on that time. Due to hard demand, it was the private member bill. She presented the bill and she demanded, and already if you see Indian Constitution, there is an entry is there, entry 17 in our concurrent list, as well as Government of India Act also. You will find entry 22 of the Government of India Act 1935. There was also the Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act. So in this way, you can find the animals protection against the cruelty was already in our constitution, in our previous constitution, also Government of India Act, and already 1890 law was there. In the meantime, some state already made the law. If you see before this central legislation, there was the Bengal law was there in 1869. Jammu and Kashmir had a separate law in 1934. Delhi had a separate law in 1940. Yes. Anyone else? If anyone want to ask the question, you are free to ask me, please. Okay. Now question is coming regarding this animal prevention of cruelty to animal. That law came into existence, and that law first time, if you see 1960, I am not going detail about the law, but they are establishing some committees. That is very important. The first time thing is that Section 4 of this act is telling the establishment of the Animal Welfare Board. And 1962, first time in India, Animal Welfare Board was established. Another important issue is that there, If you see that 1968, the Committee for the Purpose of Control and Supervision of Experiment on Animal, this another body is there, very important body. How we are doing the experiment, as we have already discussed, you have seen lots of animals are being used for the experiment purpose, the laboratories, or in experiment room, for the any kind of medical clinical trial or medical trial, those are being used. So that's why how you are using, what are the formalities you are fulfilling. So that's why one committee is there. They will look after. Their job is just to find out if there is any loophole or not. So that committee can be are being constituted by the state according to section 15 of this act. So that's why this law is very powerful. And previously this department was all this animal husbandry, all of these things was a subject of the Minister of Agriculture, and later it has been transferred in 1977. The Minister of Environment and Forest came into existence. On that time, it was shifted to them, and now the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and the Climate Change, you can find they have the one department, and Animal Welfare Board is coming directly under their control. And apart from that, in this meantime, one rules has been framed in 2001. That is the lots of rules have been framed under this Prevention of Cruelty Act. So Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act has given the lots of power to the government to make the several delegated legislations and several rules and regulations. They have made the laws also. And one law is their establishment and regulation of societies for the prevention of cruelty to animals. This is another important thing. Every state and district level also, there must be the societies for the prevention of the cruelty to animals. Society should be formed with the veterinary surgeon or all the expert bodies. Those society will look after the matter is going on, not any matter is going on or not, and they should look after. So if you see, so many bodies have been formed. So if you see very minutely, all the animal laws are coming under three basic types or three basic heads, as agricultural animal husbandry, which is mainly dealing with the Article 48, and that is the entry 15 of the Indian Constitution, of the state list, of the Civil 7, where all these agricultural laws on and the improvement of the livestock is coming. Second thing, you will see that all the wild animals and the birds are coming under the purview of the protection of wild animals in the forest. That is the part of the ecology, and that's why so many international conventions are there, because those birds are mainly migratory in nature. Those animals are the migratory in nature. So there is only one state or a single state cannot do anything. So many states are needed. Collaboratively, they have to work, and that's why international committee, they are working on this field. This is whole environmental law subject is based on this policy, this constitutional norms and legal policy. And third set of law, this is the in pure sense the animal law, that is based on ethics and morality, where you will find the cruelty, prevention of the cruelty to animal act, this are against the animal. That type of law is there, and we have one Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act 1960 or 1890 law is there. Not only that, Constitution has given this power to the previous, it is in a concurrent list actually. The state or central board, center has made the law. Apart from that, some state already made the law. That was the Delhi 1942 law is there, and Jammu and Kashmir 1934 law is there. Bengal had the 18th. So in this way, if you see, and some bodies we have already discussed, some bodies are there. Those are the wildlife. Even if you see that another law is there, wildlife recently 2023, this law have Wildlife Protection Act has been changed, and it was a very early law in 1972 law. And if you see, this law came mainly on the provisions when there was a demand of the making of this law, and on that time this law was made from national level. 2023 it came into force. The amendment part came into force, where you will find There's some new rights, your punishment has been enhanced mainly, and one chapter was inserted, that is the sites. That's the most important thing. That chapter was not originally there. So that's why 2023, if you see, this law has become very powerful, and lots of schedules. Some there is more power is given to the schedule, and if you find the chapter 5B, that the regulation of international trade in endangered species of wild fauna and flora as per convention of international trade in endangered species of the wild flora and fauna. This is known as CITES actually. This is a convention in 1973. India was a party, that is also known as the Washington Convention. India was a party on that time. In this way, this your wildlife protection law have also been updated as per the demand of the time, and you will find lots of bodies are there, and the Wildlife Protection Act, the National Board for the Wildlife, State Board for the Wildlife, Steering Committee is there, Tiger Conservation and Endangered. Right now, it has become the Endangered Species Control Bureau and a Central Zoo Authority. Another law is there, that is the Biological Diversity Act. 2002. This law came into existence. Mainly, this law was just to protect the biological diversity from the hands of the scientists or those persons in the name of scientific invention or in the name of experiment. They used to destroy the biological diversity inside the country. So that's why for the protection of those biological diversity, and this is the international convention, Rio Conference in 1992. India was also party there. It was very successful conventions for the, or you may say, the declaration on behalf of the third world countries. It took place at Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. This Rio Conference, the first time the Mother Earth concept came into existence. Here, another convention was there. That was the CBD. That is a Convention on Biological Diversity. That convention is telling that a separate set of legislation must be there in the state level, which will maintain the biological diversity inside the country, and that should be protected from the hand of those the inventors and those who are using those natural resources. So that should be protected. In this way, if you see, several sets of laws are there. Now come to our main animal law. Now, if you see the main animal law in our country, those are mainly used massive attack. You will see animals, that is a trade purpose. Those animals are used for the trade purpose. Many number of people are engaged directly or indirectly animal business. Either you are selling those elephant ivory, or you any kind of peacock feathers or venom also, or musk also. All of these, or once upon a time there were millions of research monkeys. Research are expected. Research monkeys used to be exported from this country. Even frogs, frogs used to be exported. Their two legs are used to cut, for it was a very delicate food in the foreign countries. And India exported number of frogs, and their lives. You think after cutting the two legs, what will happen? Their life become totally miserable. So that's why, if you see, those frogs were being used for research monkeys. Not only that, but this is the regular basis live animals used to be used for the trade purpose. But apart from the live animals, if you see animal items also, if you see the animal items also, animal articles also, this is another part. That's why CITES came into existence. Endangered species, a convention against the international trade against the endangered species. Those endangered species, those are being suppose you are sending animal skins, tiger skins, or the lion, so many claws, so many issues are there, even their bones. Once upon a time, it was told that tiger vanished. I started my PhD on this area in 2006. When there's a place, Sariska in Rajasthan, Alwar district. There was a Sariska National Park, and totally tigers were vanished. vanishing of tiger, one paper was presented by one bureaucrat, and it revealed that totally tiger vanished from that national park. Why? Due to the huge, the poachers, they used to kill those animals, those tiger, which is the national symbol. Sorry. National, means tiger was a national animal of our country. In spite of that, maximum tigers, those who are brutally killed and poached, and their body, their skin, their all of this. When the demand from the Chinese, China and this side, northeast side, the question was that on that time, the Chinese traditional medicines are there. Apart from that, if you see those countries, they make their law very stringent law, and they used to purchase the goods from the other country. And these poor countries, when their law is there, so internationally there is a demand for the protection of tiger. You know, tiger only used to find in the 15 or 16 countries on the Asia area, Asia and the Eurasia area. So that's why Tiger Convention took place and doubling of the tiger, those incidents took place. So anyway, question is coming, trading of the animal goods or animal products or animal items were so hugely, abruptly, those being used and those being uh, uh, poached or those smugglings were taking place. And so many laws just to protect them, so many laws came into international level. IUCN was there. In spite of that, the site convention in 1973 came into existence, and your import export rule, that is law in India. There are lists are being made by your export authorities. When you are sending any export, when you are exporting any goods, on that time your authority will see, government will see whether there are lists are there. They used to maintain where those animal products. Chapter 4 is dealing with this protection of the endangered species. So this is a demand of the international conventions. So trade, and not only that, if you see inside the country also, this is an international smuggling, international trade, or international any kind of poaching is going on inside the state also. So inside the country also, there are goods are being sold or those are being traded. Recently in 2017, your this prevention of cruelty law has made the two rules. One is a dog breeding and a marketing rules, 2017, and aquarium and a fish tank animal shops rules of 2017. These tools means when you are selling the fish or fish tank inside your aquarium, that is also subject to the protection. That should be taken into consideration. So that's why this law has come into existence, because heavily misused of this, our wild animals and our animals within the state and within the countries also. Now another issue is coming regarding the transportation purpose. Animals are being used for the transportation purpose. They will carry the goods. They are the goods carrier. So that's why you find that is a rule also. Transport of animals on foot. When you are, how they are being carried, they are being taken through foot. उसको गाड़ी से नहीं ले जाते थे. They are coming from the cattle. Suppose your camels are coming from the Rajasthan to MP to the Bihar. They are going by their own foot. So how much they can travel? How much they can go? So that's the rule is there. There is on 2000 first time 1978 there is rule, and it was amended, and 2001 new rule has come that a transport of animal on foot rules are there, which is also preventing such type of practice. Apart from that, before the slaughter, they will be used for the slaughter purpose. They will be used for the food purpose. Before that, they used to go through their food, their own food. So that is also another kind of protection. So in your food regulation also, food safety regulation, you will find that there is a rule for transportation before the slaughter. That is the food safety regulation 2011. You will find that transportation before the slaughter rule is there, and transport of animals on foot 1978 rule is there. And very recently, 269 report of the Law Commission report in 2017. The Law Commission report 269 report, which is telling a transportation of the egg-laying hens and boilers. When boilers, those will be used for the chicken purpose, means food purpose. But they are carrying, their transportation should be not in inhuman manner. You may kill them, you may slaughter them, you may take them, consume them, but you should give the proper process, you should follow the proper process. That it should not be very much inhuman, brutal. So that's why the transportation should be followed in a proper rule. So that's why, as per recommendation of the Law Commission report of 269 report of 2017, they are telling that your transportation of egg laying hens or a boiler should be also made properly. And if you see when animals are good, that is when animals or livestock purpose, suppose those are used for the livestock purpose, those should be carried by the several ways, different ways, not like the other material or other goods. So that's why law is there. You can find carriage of goods by Road Act 2007. You will find that animals are excluded. Multimodal Transport Act 1993, carriage of goods by Sea Act 1923, Major Port Transport Act 1963, where you will find that goods, animal as goods have not been taken into consideration. If animal is transported as the goods, they have the separate regulation, separate procedure is there. And Central Motor Vehicles Rules 1989, which has been recently amended 2015, they have also included the special procedure how livestock should be carried through the motor vehicles. So Central Motor Vehicle Rules 1989 has given the proper guidelines to carrying livestock. This is all a transportation purpose. Again, if you see, animal is being for the experiment purpose. Experiment purpose means, you have seen, I have already told you that Laika was the first animal being, not only animal, first living being, which was sent to the space. So that's why, and not only that, criminal trial purpose also, vivisection purpose, intersection purpose, those animals are being used. Number of animals are being used. Guinea pigs are being used. Rabbits are being used. Frogs are being used. For explaining, even some of you who took the science as a compulsory subject, biology, you have seen, or geology, you have seen, you used to intersect, vivisect so many animals. So,
Sir, sorry for interruption. Sir, please see the Q&A box. There is some questions the participants would like to ask.
I first let me finish, then I'll go one by one question. It will be better, I think so.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Is it? I have find only one question is there in the Q&A box. There is a confusion. Feeding monkey is legal or illegal. I'll answer all the question. Please let me finish. I'll go everything. Okay, only one question has come till now. So anyway, if there is any question, you will read by one question, one by one question. I will answer all the questions. So let me finish. Thus, I have just the constitutional structure I have discussed. I have discussed the legal scenario, the legal framework of the animal laws, how many laws are there, how many types of laws are there, how those are distributed. Powers are given, legislative powers are given to the state government or central government. Now I have completed the trade matter, how animals are being used for the trade or animals are being traded, those are being sold, those people are doing the trade through the animals, and transportation of the animals, experiment on animals. I was in the experiment also. There, if you see that there is a rule also, breeding and experiment of the animal control and supervision rules 1998. Apart from that, as I have just told, section 15 of the cruelty to animal, prevention of cruelty to animal law has given the power, and our committee has been constituted under section 15, that is telling what the committee for purpose of control and supervision and experiment on animals. And if you see, there is drug and cosmetic rule 1945, which has the schedule Y schedule Y is telling out which has been again amended, second time amended. Second amendment was made in 2005, through which the drug and cosmetic goods, they have made some list or schedule how animals will be used. Now, most important, I will discuss our the slaughterhouse food. You know, lots of problems are there regarding slaughter. And in our Indian Constitution, Article 48 has given that the cow slaughter prohibition law. So that's why if you see slaughter of the animal, there is a law. Law is there that you can slaughter of the animal is allowed, no doubt, but you have to follow the public health and sanitation matter. And if you see the Constitution has given the enormous power to the governments, state government, central government, even the local governments also. If you see the Schedule 7, again, in the state list, entry 6, you will find the public health and sanitation. Again, in the Schedule 11, what is Schedule 11? Schedule 11 is about the Panchayat. Panchayat has the power also on the public health and sanitation. NT 23 has given this power. And Schedule 12, the municipality, they have also the power under NT 6, that public health and sanitation. And they have the more power actually, you know, that the maintaining of public health and sanitation and the maintaining of slaughterhouse. This slaughterhouse rule and regulation to the subject of the municipal, they used to give the permission. So that's why slaughterhouse and tanneries, particularly entry 18 of the Schedule 12, is the particularly related to slaughterhouse and tanneries. If you want to municipality or municipal authority, they can make the law regarding this matter. And Constitution has given this power through this NG to the municipal authority. And if you see, again, slaughter in the food law, you will also get the existence of the slaughter provision in the food law also. Recently, if you see, there is a food safety and the standard licensing and the registration licensing and registration of food business regulation 2011. You know, if you want to do the business, food business, then you have to take the permission from the food authority. That food authority is telling that they have one rule or one regulation, and that regulation is telling that if your food is relating to the slaughtering of any animal, so you have to follow these rules. Some rules are there. That is mentioned in the part 4 of the Schedule 4 of this regulation. 2011, there's a regulation of licensing and registration of food business regulation 2011. And in this matter, you know, Supreme Court has a two guidelines also. One very old case, not a very old case, but comparatively very old case. That's a 1996 case. That was the Buffalo Traders Association, Welfare Association. This is Manikani was also related in this case. This first time court, if you see, Delhi High Court judgment was there. Some rules were made how those traders should maintain and how municipal authority has the power. And Lakshmi Narayan Modi recent case is there. This is KPS Radhakrishnan was a judge also. He was the famous judge who has given the Jallikattu judgment in animal law matter. His judgment regarding that sanitation should be followed by the municipal authority, and any kind of illegal slaughtering is banned, prohibited. So you have to follow the law. Otherwise, your slaughter is illegal and you may be prosecuted by the process of law. Yeah. And cow slaughter are the important issue, very much complicated issue, very much controversial issue. Lots of things are going on throughout the country regarding this matter. So that's why if you see cow slaughter prohibition law, and state government has the power. You know the famous case of the 1958 Hanif Qureshi or the Abdul Hakim case of 1961. All of these is related to the constitutional validity of the slaughter prohibition laws, cow slaughter prohibition law. And West Bengal government 1950 they modeled the law, UP government 1955 they made the law, Punjab had the 55 law, Odisha made the 1960 law. All of them made the law on the protection of the cattle preservation or livestock improvement. And state has the power. I have already started with this provision, the entry 15 of the state Least power is given, preservation of stock and improvement of livestock, preservation and protection and improvement of the stock. So that's why this stock has given the power, and on the basis of this power, state government can make the law. But it was decided that those cow slaughter was prohibited due to the agricultural purpose. When they are not fit for the agricultural purpose, they should be used in this manner. Now another important issue is coming, apart from the slaughter, performing animal. This is now very complicated and very much contemporary also. As I have already told, if you see, there is an international provisions are there for the protection. Not only that, you can find that there is a provision for the protection of the animals in the from the performing also. There are lots of states in the country. They are actually used. There is a practice. There is a tradition. They used to make the race perform. They used to perform the animal due to this harvesting season or bovine animals. There is a practice. And one of these practices in Tamil Nadu, this is known as the Jallikattu. This is a very very famous practice. Or a race, or a bullock cart race somewhere in Maharashtra or the Karnataka. So already these states, what they did, actually, if you see in 2011, your notification made by the government of India that your this provision of the using of some animals and the performing animal, and bulls were inserted here. Monkeys, lions, and bulls were inserted. So when bull was inserted, on that time it was challenged. And on that time, Nagraja case, due to the Nagraja case, 2014 it came, they told yes, they cannot, Jallikattu cannot be claimed. And again, government 2016, 7th January is issued another notification. It was stayed by the state government, 2016, it was stayed by the Supreme Court. And this is the Deepak Mishra was there, and N.V. Ramanna was there, and your yes, your division bench judgment was there, which told that such type of notifications should not be used, and this notification stayed, and ultimately this came. This is the backdrop of this case. So, for the 5 judges, judge was Deepak Mishra and the your Nariman was there. They referred this matter to the 5 judges. First time it was decided the constitutional courts should decide the matter whether these laws. In the meantime, Tamil Nadu government, Tamil Nadu state, as well as Maharashtra and the Karnataka, they amended their law. Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act has been changed and amended for the protection against the protection, and allowed that their bullock cart race or performing animal. It was challenged before the court of law. Well, how can this law overshadow that your judgment of the A. Nagraja of 2014? Not only that, it is violating of the Prevention of Cruelty Act and animal rights. But court gave the judgment in the favor recently. This is May, this year May, this time this judgment came into existence. They have given the right, no, they have given the protection of this provision of this law, and it was told that laws are not in contrary to the judgment. They have taken the proper protection, and law has this amendment. They have followed the so many guidelines, so such type of things should be allowed. They have protected the interest of the animals, but they are telling such a tradition. If it is properly maintained, if properly precautions are taken, then such type of 3 laws are valid. So this is a judgment of this Animal Welfare Board versus Union of India recent case, and this case has validated the provision. But in spite of that, they have protected the interest of the animals, and also this animal does not have any kind of fun. So this is one kind of, you may say, this law is too much not the improvement support of the animal protection, but somehow this is very technical issue, and in technical point of view, this law has protected the statutes which has been passed by the state legislative assembly for the protection of their own culture. This is the situation. Now come to the film also. Whenever you see any animals are shown in the film, in your television or any kind of cinema, you have seen it is written that no animal has caused the harm. So this is a law. This law was made, and section 22 of the has given the power banning and the trading and the exhibition of the any kind of the animals, and this is also in the case of film also. And no objection certificate you have to take from the Animal Welfare Board of India, Central Board, and this is also rule of the Central Board of the film certification. In this way, this law was very much. This law is very much useful, and animal cruelty showing in the film or any kind of uh, media also, that is the coming on the part of the whichever is coming on the Central Board of Film Certification. This is also prohibited. Now, one issue is there, that is the animal sacrifice. This is a religious matter. Also, animal sacrifice is a part and parcel. The step of animal sacrifice is totally banned, totally prohibited as per present law. And every state has their own law. If you see that you find the Gujarat Animal Law, Animal and the Bird Sacrifice Prevention Act. If you see that Kerala Animals and the Bird Sacrifice Prohibition Act, or the Pondicherry Animals and the Bird Sacrifice Prohibition Act, or Tamil Nadu Animals and the Bird Sacrifice Prohibition Act, all the state government, the maximum state government, they have prohibited animal sacrifice in any precinct of the any precinct, and the public place or any kind of mandi precinct. This is totally prohibited. So this is not allowed. And any kind. Recently, this case was there in Tripura. Tripura, there was a practice before the Tripura ceremony, all of these things. But court said no. Any kind of pre-constitutional law should not be allowed in this matter also. So in this sense, if you see, we have seen the animal has the constitutional position, animal has the cattle preservation and livestock provisions, prevention of cruelty to animals, slaughter of the animals, sacrifice of the animal, performance of the animal, experiment on the animals, transportation of the animals, and trade of the animals. Those are also laws of there. Now, another major part is the wildlife. I have already discussed Wildlife Protection Act is there, Biological Diversity Act is there in India. So that's why before that, several species were protected. I have also one book also in the Wildlife Protection Act. This is totally based on the Wild Animal Protection Law. And if you see that there is the only issue is there regarding the disease and the treatment of the animal. This is another important issue. If you see animal disease and animal and their treatment are also the part and parcel of the state. Because animal is a source of resources. Animals are treated as resources, stock, livestock. So those are stock. So their disease, their protection is also subject of the state. So that should be protected. In this manner, if you see that all of these issues, you will find in your subject, everywhere you will get such type of protection of the animals in your statute. So this is the whole concept about the animal laws and the legislative structure of the country, how the animals are being protected, their rights are. Now, next issue is coming. This is protection. Next issue is coming, the welfare. Now, regarding the welfare, state has played a very important role. If you see, state has played a very important role, and that's why, if you see, state has made so many roles, so many departments also, and judiciary, tremendous support made by the judiciary also in this. So many case laws I have already discussed, and recently I am one of the book is coming that is totally based on the role of the judiciary, the protection of the animal. Apart from it, so many statutes, that are laws are there. But if the question of justice is coming, on that time judiciary also plays a very important role. Regarding animal sacrifice, if you see transportation of animals, and nowadays so many high courts are engaged in the protection of animals. So in this way, this is all about the animal protection laws. If you have any question, you may ask me. But I have gone through all the professions of animal. If anything is left, you may ask me. Yeah, success, Srivastava, are you there? I have gone through all the nooks and corners of the animal laws, whatever was my subject through my presentation. I have covered the trade in animal, transportation of animal, experiment of animals, slaughter, provision of animals, performing animals, sacrifice of animals. In this way, constitutional structure. If any question is, any part is left, if you think so, or if any area, gray area, which is beyond my discussion, I am happy to, if you kindly illuminate me on this matter. Is there any question? Is there any kind of asking? Well, is there anyone left? Only you or myself present. Saxi? Are you getting me?
Yes, sir, you are audible. So there is a question in Q&A box.
Have
I
you?
will read for
Please
sir.
read.
So feeding monkey is a legal or illegal?
Feeling?
Feeding monkey.
Feeding, feeding. Feeding, you see, that question is coming recently, as I have told you, and there is a case of the Delhi High Court. The series of cases are there. But radical change came in recently when Justice J.R. Mida has given the judgment the right, the feeding to animals, stray animals, mainly the dogs. The case was regarding the dogs, stray dogs. Those were so much thing you will see in the roadside. A group of people they used to feed. Court said the feeding of the stray dogs is the right. It is coming on the basis of the, just I have completed Article 51 AG. That is the the citizen. This is a duty of the citizen. Duty of the citizen to be compassionate towards all the living creature. In that sense, feeding is his right, and anyone who is preventing him for the feeding is the strictly punishable. His performance is strictly punishable, and he is violating that another person in performing his fundamental duties. So in this way, he is doing the wrong. It was a total judgment. Now it has so many subsequent judgments also. Now issue is coming the monkeys. If now that judgment was in regard to the dog, and not only that, when the ABC, this is the animal birth control rule is there. 2023, first time animal birth control rule is telling that there must be a feeding point. There must be a feeding post in the every residential welfare association, resident welfare association, everywhere. And municipality has the duty to find out whenever they will give any permission, they must make one feeding point. The where food should be given a particular point. It should not be given so scattered way, so means abrupt way, so it will create the nuisance. So that's why I think if this analogy is being used in the case of monkey also, I think it is also, if stray dogs are allowed, then why monkeys should not be allowed? But question is coming, you should not imitate means any way. You should not instigate them. You should not means any way. You should not instigate, or you should not create any kind of problem that monkeys should disturb the others also. So that's why a particular feeding point must be there, and it must be maintained. You cannot be prevented. So animals are also part and parcel of our nature or our society also. So you cannot be prevented. But question is that your activity should not create any kind of, according to present context, there is no law which is preventing you to feeding any living animal. Yeah.
Is there any questions from the attendees? I think, sir, there is no other question. So thank you very much, sir, for your valuable and inspiring words and insightful thoughts. And thank you for answering the questions. As we come near to the end of our webinar, I, on the behalf of the team of LegalStix, extend a warm and hearty thanks to Mitra, sir, for giving an excellent coverage to the topic and enlightening us. We all feel blessed to hear you, sir. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank all the participants for being the patient audience. Thank you, sir. Keep learning. Jai Hind. Jai Bharat, sir.